Hello, I have a message today called Well-Being. When you judge someone or something positively or negatively, you have to imagine that you are separate and then analyze data provided by ego to form a conclusion provided by ego. So, let me just go back through it. Yeah. All the thoughts that ego gives us are positive or negative. There's nothing neutral. And we might notice that we're kind of tired of getting thrown back and forth by these thoughts and having our perceived separate self thrown back and forth up and down by attachment to and belief in these thoughts. And we don't lose anything when we allow the false positive and negative to go. When we allow the false positive and negative that ego tells us about to fade, then the light that's always been behind it gets a chance to shine. So when you judge someone or something positively or negatively, you have to imagine that you are separate, because we're not, so we have to imagine that part. And then there's this whole process that seems to happen so quickly. Analyze data, multiple data points provided by ego, to form a conclusion provided by ego. Then we believe that. Then that seems to become our experience, or what we perceive, what we believe is real around us. So when we can slow down and see the components of this, we have every reason to really slow down as we're experiencing and we're not feeling good about it, to let all these aspects of belief and experience get highlighted so we can learn how to fall out of that, or step back from that, or let what is really here take over and guide us through our perception and our experience, not what ego's making up and churning back and forth about, but what's really here can provide our perception and our experience. And it's without this cascade of conclusions provided by the instability we made, provided by ego. When we're saying we want to rely on the stability, not on the instability, and that becomes more obvious and more simple and more direct. So then we seem to have greater and better resources or more patience to just step back and let everything fall apart. It's kind of like a Jenga tower. When we notice the thought we're believing that we're aware now comes from ego, and we can pull that thought out of the Jenga tower. You pull enough thoughts out of it, it collapses, and then you stop relying on these structures of ego thought. You get out of the habit. You realize there's something else here to rely on, and that's this constant going in and seeking guidance. In order to believe conclusions provided by ego, you have to value and trust what ego provides. So ego will give us a series of conclusions, and we accept them because we want guidance. There's like a starting point from which we don't know what to do, and we have to be guided in our perception and experience. You have to have a guide through perception and experience, and it's going to be either ego or spirit. So we want a guide, and so we have grown to rely on what we think is logic and being rational, and relying on accurate, actual data points, relying on what's real, our conclusions, ego's conclusions about what's real. But in order to believe those conclusions, we have to value and trust what ego provides. And now that we can see it's this unstable Jenga tower, we'd rather rely on the light, which is ever present within or behind everyone and everything. And this light can provide all of our thoughts, which means it determines what it is we appear to do. what it is we appear to say. It determines how everything appears. It determines everything everyone else seems to do. It determines everything everyone else seems to say. And this experience we're having is practice in allowing the light to determine everything. Everything, until we no longer object to what we're experiencing anymore. So it's just practice every day until we no longer have an objection to what we're experiencing, because we've allowed it very simply, all of our perception, all of our experience, to be determined by the light all of us are. So we're here for practice, and we're good, and we're guided. Okay, when you feel not good, you have taken one step down the stairway to ego. So I'm still having not good feelings, and I still have that habit of relying upon ego's conclusions, of thinking they're stable or that they will help me or someone else. But now I can see more deeply, ego's conclusions are not helpful. And so that makes it easier for me to turn towards something else. And as we go on, it just gets more and more obvious. Ego's conclusions are not helpful. To the extent we still rely upon them, it's going to become obvious to us through different experiences and perceptions. These conclusions of ego are not reliable, stable, and they don't bring happiness to anyone. So we're gradually going to let those go and seek other guidance, which is always here. It's like a light that never gets turned off. It's always here. We just have to try it out and relax into it and learn to trust it. So when you feel not good, you have taken one step down the stairway to ego. Now let's say I'm looking at someone else and I think that one over there feels not good. In a sense, it's none of my business. It's not about the ego trying to fix their situation, or the ego trying to avoid or escape from the perception of their situation. It's more about, how do I feel right now? Am I fully confident in what's here for both of us? Am I fully confident in that being's ability to be guided? Am I checking in, asking, is there anything I should do or say? Not from a place of anxiety, not from a place of trying to fix it as a separate self, from a sense of guilt or fear, but just from a place of showing up and being willing. So no matter what, no matter where we are, we can show up and we can be willing, and we can be aware that there's rational, logical, sane, very specific guidance for everyone and everything involved in this situation. And as we hold that awareness, then we let that situation blossom or move into a collective experience of what do we experience and what do we perceive together when our guidance is sane, when we rely on the sanity that we share, when we remember our sanity is shared. It's not parceled out individually, denied to some, given others. It is shared. It is there. It's just under a whole lot of stuff. And so our experience every day helps us bump into the stuff that we need to let go of. You can step back from the stairway and remember, not only do I not know anything about the world of illusion I made, the I that seems to be in this world doesn't exist. The I that I am is here with everyone and everything. It's the one I. So I noticed this as I learned to step back from that stairway and not go 3 or 4 or 17 steps or flights down that stairway of ego. I realized I do not know anything about this world. I still walk around thinking I do, and and acting in patterns and enacting little repetitive rituals and having expectations. I can see all of that happening, and it's not like I have to try to undo that as a separate self, but I can see more and more like things are a whole lot more flexible than I thought they were. And then fear can kick in there because the ego will be like, yeah, they can be flexible in the wrong way. This could go south. The things that you think are reliable and stable right now could become unreliable and unstable. So, ego gives us these little stairways no matter what direction we're looking in, and we can start to take one step down. Then we have to step back up. Like, wow, the separate I that is not real, that pretends to know all these separate little things, doesn't know anything at all. The light is here for everyone and seemingly everything. And that does know. The light everyone and everything does know. Our character can't know. Our character is just a character bopping around. But we can put it and everyone and everything we see under the control or the guidance of what we actually are, what we've been denying. We've been denying the unified love. We've been denying the unified light, but pausing helps. Pausing to put the entirety of any situation into the control, into the hands of what is actually here for all of us. And Jesus can be a helper. Jesus has become more, Jesus just is a helper. He's with everyone at all times. But if, there might not be a cultural pathway toward recognizing the presence of this one with that name. and really we're all the same one. So it becomes difficult to talk about. But the constant presence of this one, and it doesn't have to take a personality form, but it may. And the constant presence of this one as a helper, as a teacher, as the sane, rational one is just, you can see before how you would have blocked that out and pushed it away, but it's a reality. It's a reality. The presence of this divine sibling, this brother, this helper, and it can take any form, and that includes physical perception. So just opening up to that end of it and seeing whatever needs to be perceived and experienced for each one in whatever way, with whatever name attached to it they need, that's going to happen. But Jesus is a really good way of summing that up, coming from the Christian perspective. Okay. You can step back from the stairway and remember, not only do I not know anything about the world of illusion I made, the I that seems to be in this world doesn't exist separately, right? Because I exist and you exist, but we exist together. The I that I am is here with everyone and everything. So when we perceive a conflict, the conflict is the lie, but we might have gotten ourselves caught up in it. The with and the oneness and the unity, that's the truth. So the ego will lie to us about everything and slice and dice and put bits in opposition to other bits, but we don't have to fall for it. We fall for it less and less, and we find more of a place to rest in the remembrance that everything the ego says is a lie. And if we just pause and rest in what is here for us, it will become obvious what we need to say, what we need to do, how we need to think, which causes our perception of what we and others say and do. All of that will come to us. We just learn to pause and rest and reset. And as it comes to us, it comes to everyone, because there's only one of us. As you remember to stay clear of the stairway, a sense of general well-being emerges and becomes obvious. So if you keep visiting a place, it becomes familiar to you. and reliable, in a place that you're willing to go, in a place that you're willing to rest. So as I keep going in and resting and pausing, this becomes a very reliable place, and the rest goes with me wherever I go. So I wouldn't need particular conditions, because we carry rest with us as an inner state, and we can go in and replenish and get what we need whenever we need to, and share that with everyone. Because as we go in and replenish, we're sharing that replenishment with everyone, and the clearer head, the clarity we get, the certainty we get about being guided, is something we can share with everyone. So as you remember to stay clear of the stairway, a sense of general well-being emerges and becomes obvious. This place of rest becomes a place we would not want to wander away from. We realize we can just stay here with this, as this, and see this in everyone and everything. And then what seems to be happening, or ego's analysis of it, how things seem to look, or ego's analysis of that, it matters less and less. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter at all. It still matters to me. I still get thrown off balance. But it matters less and less, and this inner place of rest becomes more and more obvious and welcoming. And to know that to go in isn't to withdraw, but to go to the place where it's clear that we're joined, makes all the sense in the world. If we want the world to be set straight, we have to go within to the place where everything that can order our perception and experience is. And so everything that can order everyone's perception and experience, and make obvious what is true, and help us forget what is false and what never was, that flows forth from this place. So with willingness, we visit it often, and we stay, and we live there, and and we allow all our expression to come from there. Okay, hope this helps, and happy healing.